Alright, Shalom Israel. This is the brother Shaquat Gabar from the Great Millstone, South Carolina camp, coming at you with another lesson. And before I get into my lesson, I want to start off giving all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, the Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders out of Great Millstone that rule well and that's laboring in this truth. And salutation to the fellow laborers that's in the ministry as well, pushing the doctrine of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, day in and day out in all truth and sincerity. Once again, this message is to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, which are the true biblical Hebrew Israelites according to the Bible, and to the Israelite foreigners that scattered amongst the heathen nations that may look like a heathen nation, but if your bloodline go back to Negro, Latino, and Native American descent, you are considered an Israelite through the seed of the Father. But basically, I'm just going to get into a quick lesson about, recently, brothers been posting up the videos about the Iranian military had an encounter with a UFO, which a so-called UFO, which the UFOs in the Bible are considered the chariots, and they are angels, not what this world paint them to be. The world say that those so-called UFOs are aliens, green or gray creatures, little monsters, but that's blaspheming, because all actuality, the chariots or the so-called UFOs are angels, man, and they are so-called black men. And recently you had that encounter, the Iranian military, shooting their, their missiles against the UFO, the chariot, but they couldn't bring it down, man, because they're fighting against a higher power, man, and that's Yahweh and Yahweh Shah, who the world calls God and Christ, which also so-called black men, and they're only for the nation of Israel, the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And that's just a sign for brothers in the faith, the ones that's in the know. That's just a quick little preview of how the angels is going to come against the military here in these last days during the time of World War III. That's how Yahweh Shah is going to return, man. He's going to return by what you call UFOs, the chariots. He's going to come back and deliver the elect, the 144,000 and the 1/3, by the ways of those so-called UFOs. But he also going to bring judgment by bringing war against these nations' military and destroying them by fire. Because that's what's going to come out, those laser beams going to come out those so-called UFOs, those chariots. And they show you in these different parts with different movies, like world wars, or certain so-called UFO movies that got something to do with the alien invasion. Well, they get that from the scriptures. And that's how Yahweh Shah is going to return. So the first scripture I'm going to go into is in Revelation chapter 1, verse 7. And it says, "Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him." So the clouds represent the so-called UFOs, a chariot. And the word chariot just means a vehicle. And that's the way how the angels move around and about throughout here on the earth, in the atmosphere, and in the spiritual realm, the third dimension. And it says, "Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him." So when Yahweh Shah return, man, all eyes are going to see Yahweh Shah, because he's going to be in a gigantic chariot, a gigantic so-called UFO, right along with other UFOs, chariots right along with him, Let me get that real quick. And that's our power, man. That's the power of the Israelites. And that's just like I say, man, a quick little preview how the Lord is going to return. This is Psalms chapter 68, verse 17. "The chariots of Yahweh are 20,000, even thousands of angels. The Lord is among them as in Sinai in the holy place." So it's going to be multiple chariots, when Yahweh Shah return, man. Yahweh Shah being the main one, the biggest one, the fathership. You know, the one that's gonna lead the rest of the angels, the chariots, into war. And that's what we coming into, man. The invasion of the angels, the invasion of the second coming of Yahweh Shah. When all hell break loose, and it's time for Yahweh Shah to come back and bring justice to the Israelites and judgment to you heathens. You know. And it says, behold, Revelation chapter 1 verse 17. Salaki, Revelation chapter 1 verse 7. Behold, he cometh with clouds, every eye shall see him, and they also which pierce him, all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. Because when the Lord come back, man, like I said, he's coming back to bring judgment upon the earth. Especially America. America known as Babylon the Great in the Bible. The Lord got it out for America, man, because America is contrary to everything that Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, the power of the Israelites, the power of the Holy Bible. They contrary to all the things that the Lord stated here in the scriptures. The law, statutes, and commandments, the prophecies, the images, the true characteristics and image of Yahweh and Yahweh Shah and the Israelites. So the Most High is going to bring a lot of judgment. This is the book of Zechariah, chapter 5, verse 1. Then I turned and lifted up my eyes and looked, and behold, a flying robe. That's another code name, biblical name for what you call a UFO today, a flying robe. And he said unto me, what seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying robe. The length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof is 10 cubits. Then, because when Zechariah saw this, he called it a flying robe because it actually looked like a robe, the so-called UFO, they got that oval or that circle form, majority of them, and it look like a robe. Then say unto me, this is the curse that go forth over the face of the earth. So no chariots, man, no so-called UFOs is going to be a curse unto the wicked, when they come back, and Yahweh shall come back and bring judgment. And it said, then he said unto me, this is the curse that go forth over the face of the whole earth. For every one that stealeth shall be cut off as on this side according to it. And every one that swear shall be cut off as on the side of according to it. And I will bring it forth, say the Lord of hosts, and it shall enter into the house of the thief, into the house of him that swear falsely by my name, and it shall remain in the midst of his house, and shall consume it with the timber thereof, and the stones thereof. And that's going into the house of the thief is who? Who's the main thief that stole everything, including America? You so-called white people, which are the biblical Edomites. So when these chariots come in and invade the world, the earth, they definitely gonna come and make their presence over here, not only just in the world or over the earth, but in America. Because this is the place where the Lord said that it should enter into the house of the thief. Because how you got this land, you Edomites, you stole it from the Native Americans and the Latino tribes, which they are sons of Israel as well, man. So this is gonna be a curse unto you, to America, and to you Edomites over here in America. And it said that it said as swear falsely by the word, because America is supposed to be the standard, of the Bible, what they claim, America supposed to be, the Bible supposed to be the law of the land. But everything that the Bible states, America is contrary against, man. Like I say, man, the law, statutes, and commandments, the pushing homosexuality, bestiality, pedophilia, witchcraft, do as thou will, idol worship. So Yahweh Shem Yahushua, when they return with these chariots, they're going to bring judgment here in America by fire, you know. Because that's how the Lord coming back. Besides delivering the elect, to bring judgment by fire. And that's what that, you know, those Iranian military, man, they couldn't touch that one little chariot, man. That one chariot. You know, so imagine when a multitude come. When it's really time to go to war. When they war against Yahweh Shah. This is Isaiah chapter 66, verse 15. For behold, the Lord will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury, and his rebuke with flames of fire. So the Lord's coming back with fire, man. Not what the world says. The Lord is going to come back with all peace, love, and happiness. No, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is coming back with fire, destruction, death, sorrow, mourning. And it says, for by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many. So by fire and by sword. And that sword represents destruction. So that's what the Lord is coming back with, destruction. And it said that the slain of the Lord shall be many. So there's going to be a lot of people here on the earth that's going to die. Why? For their wickedness. You know, the heathens. And 2/3 of you Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans, you know, you heathens, and 2/3 going to be judged by Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, righteous anger, his indignation, for all the wickedness that they are doing, man. Because 2/3 of our people, they're not going to come back and believe in Yahweh Shah. They're going to steady continue on believing in this system, believing in this world, you know, believing in Esau, his philosophies, following after these false gods, these religions. So when Yahweh Shah return, man, majority of our people are going to die as well. The 2/3. Right along with the heathens. But that's what you see, man. You see, that's just a sneak preview, man. And brothers, that, you know, that's a faith booster, man. Seeing that encounter with the Iranian military, with the encounter against a chariot, man. And like I said, man, they probably shot over about 1,000 missiles, you know, trying to hit that one chariot, man. And they couldn't hit it at all, man. It was swerving in and out of the, you know, the missiles, you know, evading the missiles, you know, showing you the power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. That it's a higher power, man. And that you carnal people, especially you heathens, and 2/3 of our people, can't deal with, man. Because when all hell break loose, and when Yahweh Shah return with the chariots, you're going to even have some of our people in that military over there in the Middle East, where they go fight this war, this last war, this World War III. The scripture call it the third woe. The woe means destruction, you know. But even our people that trust in America, that joined us, U.S. military nation, military, and these other nation military, you know, when it's go down, man, when this World War III go down, and they fight against each other, and when Yahweh Shah return, as the scripture says, they're going to stop fighting against each other and fight against the Lord. And they're not going to prevail. But Yahweh Shah is going to get that victory, because he's the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, as the scripture stated, you know. Because they're going to start off fighting against each other at first, you know. But then they'll have to turn all their eyes, all their weapons towards fighting Yahweh Shah. Because that's how Yahweh Shah going to want it, for a good battle. That he's going to bring that destruction to him, to show him that he's the supreme power, man. That the Father, Yahweh, set him up to be the king of the earth, man, to be the rulers over all things. This is Revelation chapter 17, verse 14. And it says, I'll start off at 12. Verse 12. Revelation chapter 17, verse 12. And it says, in the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but received powers a power as kings 1 hour with the beast. 10 horn represent NATO, and the beast system NATO, the European military might, right along with America, because America is jumped with NATO. America being that whore that ride the beast in the book of Revelation, chapter 17. Continue on to get to the point. And it says, these have one mind and shall get a power and strength unto the beast, meaning their military might. And it says, verse 14, these shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. So they're going to make war with the Lamb. The Lamb represent Yahweh Shah. The NATO, the beast system, represent their military, and the Lamb is going to come back by what? His military, his host of angels, his army, by the way of those so-called UFOs, the chariots. So they're going to make war against Yahweh Shah. And this is what the scripture says. Verse 14. And it says, these shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is the Lord of lords and King of kings, and they are with him are called the chosen and faithful. So when they make war with Yahweh Shah, the Lord is going to overcome them, man. When you see that scripture, when it said that that there's going to be war in heaven, it's talking about the battle that's going to go on between these nations, these military nations, nation militaries, and Yahweh Shah and the angels. And Ezra's got to counter that, man. And I'm going to bring this out, man. Close it out with this. This is 2nd Esdras, chapter 13, verse 1. And it came to pass after 7 days, I dreamed a dream by night. And lo, there arose a wind from the sea, that it moved all the waves thereof. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him. So Ezra's going into the chariot, man. The thousands of the angels that Yahweh Shah is going to come back with by the ways of the so-called UFOs, the chariots. And like I said earlier, Yahweh Shah being in the main chariot, and the rest of the chariots following him. And it says, whensoever the voice went out his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice. And that represents those laser beams coming out, the so-called UFOs, coming out the chariots, And it says, all they burned that heard his voice, like as the earth faileth when it filleth the fire. And after this I behold, and lo, there was gathered together a great man, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of the heaven to subdue the man that come out of the sea. So that's talking about multitudes of men, talking about these nations, military. Like I say, man, because it's gonna be a great war on the earth, World War III, where all nations gonna fight against each other. But then when Yahweh Shah, like I said, trying to subdue the man that rose out of the sea, talking about the heavens, because the heavens also is made of water. So Yahweh Shah is actually coming from out the heavens, not actually ocean or water here on the earth. It's talking from out of the heavens. And when he come out of the heavens with his chariots, him and the angels, they're going to fight against the Lord. And it says, and I beheld, and lo, he had driven himself a great mountain and flew upon it. So Esdras, said that the chariot that the Lord been in was like a mountain. That's how large it was, man. How gigantic it was. Continue on. And it says, but but I would have seen the region. I start at back at 6. And it says, I beheld, and lo, he had driven himself a great mountain, and flew upon it. But I would have seen the region and or place without the hill was driven, and I could not, because it was a chariot, that looked like a mountain, but it came from out of the skies. So Ezra was looking around to see where it was coming from, what part of the earth it came from. But all actuality, the chariot that the Lord been in that looked like a mountain came from out of the sky, from the heavens. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were so afraid, yet despite. So these nations, they military, when it's time to go to war during that time, they're going to be afraid, man. Because Yahweh Shah say he's coming back as a power. He's not going to come back as a man that he did, 2,000 years ago, but they crucified him, when they tortured him during the time as he been on the earth and being the crucifixion lamb for the nation of Israel. But this time when he come back, he's coming back with that power, man. He say he's not going to meet thee as a man. Talking about these heathen nations, and especially mainly his main enemy, you Edomites. So they're going to fight against the Lord, man, during the time when they fight against each other. Back then, during that, 1989, 1980s, you had Ronald Reagan, make the speech, telling they need a space program, just in case alien invasion, where we all put our difference aside and fight against that common enemy, because they know, man, these devils know there's a higher power, and they know that there's the chariots or angels, just like recently you got Donald Trump talking about the Space Force program, putting weaponry out there out of space to fight against so-called UFOs, fight against the so-called aliens. They know that's the angels, man, because they got the prophets here bringing the word out, and you got more UFO sightings taking place, man. Because those are signs that Yahweh Shah is about to return and bring this kingdom down and set up the kingdom of Israel. Continue on. This is 2nd Esdras, chapter 13, verse 8. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were so afraid, yet despite. And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor sword, nor any instrument of war. But all I saw that he sent out his mouth as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips as a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests, talking about those laser beams, Because when Esdras said that he didn't see him having any type of sword, it's talking about, weaponry, because the Lord don't need no carnal weapon like a fighter jet that got them, their machine guns on it, their missiles, The Lord coming back with straight power, man. And that power that he's going to come back from those chariots is concentrated fire, laser beams, They're going to be turning these military vehicles, the fighter jets, the men, into powder, man, to dust. And they show you that too on War of the Worlds. They show you when those chariots appear and they shoot that fire. They shot that fire. You had the people and things like cars and buildings turning into powder. But that's how the Lord is going to come back with that fire, man. Continue on, and it says, and they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which were prepared to fight, and burned them up every one, so that upon a sudden or innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smoke, and dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid, So that's it right now, you know. So basically, you know, that just going into how the Lord Yahweh Shah, who the world calls Christ or Jesus, you know, how he's going to come back by the ways of those chariots, man, and bring war against these heathen nations and their military, you know. You know, because like I say, man, that's just a quick preview, you know, a little sneak preview of that whole you know, video about the Iranian military having an encounter with a so-called UFO, which is the chariots, which is the angel, you know, and they couldn't touch the chariot, man. They couldn't even touch that so-called UFO, man. You know, no force here on the earth can compare to Yahweh Bashim Yahushua power, man. You know, and we about to see that, brothers. You know, we about to see that. Lord willing, we those men, and we do it to the end. You know, we're gonna see when Yahweh shall return and bring destruction to these people, man, to these militaries, to these wicked kingdoms. You know. So I'm hoping and praying that this lesson be edifying to the ones that's out there listening. Till the next time, I'm gonna give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders out of great millstone that rule well, that's laboring day in and day out. And salutations to the fellow laborers as well in the ministry of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, pushing his word in all truth and sincerity. Till the next time, Shalom.